So reflected XSS has that one extra requirement, and that is making the victim make an unintended malicious request. For example, we need the victim to open this link so that they send the JavaScript and they get the JavaScript back. Now, a user is normally not going to write this as their search query, so the attacker has to trick them into making this request. And the strategies for doing this are similar to ones we've seen before. So for example, let's have the victim visit the attacker's website, and the attacker's website has some iframe that sends a request to this website and returns the response in the user's browser. Or maybe we use image tags like we saw last time. That might work. Maybe you send the request, and then maybe the response comes back, although maybe there's an error because it's not an image. You could trick the victim into clicking on this link. So maybe send them an email that says, click this link, and if they're tricked, they can click this link. Maybe they visit the attacker's website, and the attacker's website redirects them to this link. So there's lots of different ways to make the attacker visit this link. And ultimately, when they visit this link, they receive this JavaScript with the origin of google.com. So these are all different ways to trick the victim into making this request. And again, these are different from just serving JavaScript to the victim. So this is stronger than just directly serving JavaScript to the victim on evil.com, because if you serve JavaScript from evil.com, it can only access evil.com resources. But if you carry out an iframe-based attack like this, or you redirect to google.com, that JavaScript can instead run with Google's origin, which is potentially more powerful. So at this point, a lot of people see XSS and they see CSRF, and they think they're basically the same thing. It seems like in both cases, the user is being tricked into clicking on a link or making a request. But we have to be careful, because even though both of these attacks require the victim to click on a link or otherwise make a request, the result of making that request is different in the two attacks. So the two attacks, they do share this particular requirement that the victim has to click a link, but the result of the attack is different. In an XSS attack, the result is that the response has malicious JavaScript that runs with the origin of google.com. Now in CSRF, there was no JavaScript at all. You didn't even think about JavaScript when we talked about CSRF. Instead, with CSRF, the attack is that the request contains the user's cookies, and that causes the server to think that the request came from the user when it was actually malicious. So even though they have the same requirement, the effects are different. One of them has to do with executing JavaScript in the user's browser, and the other one, CSRF, has to do with unintended behavior happening on the server side. So it's tricky to confuse the two. It's easy to confuse them, but remember that they are actually two different attacks. They just share a step.